Good day, welcome to Judith Let's Talk. Here at Let's Talk, we talk about real life issues. We talk about relationships, school, children, we talk sex, we talk real estate, we talk umjolo, we talk about everything that we can talk about. I am your host, Judith Sedange. Today, we're talking about anger, and my guest is Zandile Pearl Lidwaba. Hi, Sandy, how are you?
I'm okay, and you friends.
I'm okay.
Thank you so much for welcoming me into this special event, and I feel very much honored.
You're welcome.
Yes.
You good?
I'm good.
Okay. Today we're talking about anger.
Wow.
Anger, like anger is anger.
Okay.
Yes.
Anger, it's a natural process, just like love. It is. You become angry, you become happy, you laugh, you hate. So anger is a natural process that needs to be allowed, or that is there in a human species. Anger only becomes a problem when it's overdone.
So how do you know now it's overdone? How do we know when to handle? How do you handle the anger?
When you do something that even you as a person, you wouldn't want that to be done to you. I've got a very good definition of anger from the Oxford Dictionary, which says anger is a strong feeling of annoyance, displeasure, or strong emotional displeasure which leads to plans of revenge. So anger becomes a problem when you start want to revenge. Okay. Whereas you can be angry. We see different forms of anger. For instance, you can be angry about the traffic. You can be angry about somebody cutting you off on the road. You can be angry about your child, waiting for your child in school when your child has to come back and your child doesn't come back at you and whatever. But when it then dehumanize a person, that is when it becomes a problem.
But how do we then identify that now it's a problem? Because I could be angry for whatever reason. I'm angry, and though not revengeful, but angry at a situation. So how then do I control? Can anger be controlled? Can you control your anger if you're angry? Can I limit the anger? Can I hate you to an extent if I'm angry with you? Or anger just happens. You find yourself in a situation where you're angry and you can't even control yourself. And you continue on, because anger is just not like I'm angry with you and that's it. It builds up in a person. It starts with just a small thing, then it builds up to something big and something bigger and bigger and bigger. How do we identify and control the anger to say, okay, now I think it's enough?
It's very difficult for a person to say, my anger is enough. Because other people's anger, they have this revengeful situation packed with them. And it's always advisable that when you're angry, if you're angry with me, write a letter 3 times. The first letter, the second letter, and the third letter. You would see the first letter is not the same as the second letter. The second letter is not the same as the third letter. That is then when you want to control your anger.
But then, you're talking about sitting in an office with a shrink. Then they tell you write 3 letters.
Not necessarily.
If I'm angry, my situation does not even allow me to write a 3-page letter or to write a letter 3 times to actually get to a point where, okay, how do I feel right now? It also depends with the situation.
Not necessarily. For instance, somebody cuts you off. You've got a right of way of turning right. This person just decides to come in. Now, you have to think, if I do exercise my right, chances I'm going to get involved in an accident. And what is going to take? It's going to take my time, my emotions, my finances in terms of insurances and all that. Now, that's when the anger, you need to somehow try and control your anger. That's the first one. The other one, you can also seek a psychological help to say, okay, fine. When you're angry, these are the exercises. They do have exercises that they give people to do.
The anger management thing.
Yes, the anger management, to say when you're angry. Okay. Because you cannot just go around and kill people and say, I was angry, I was angry, I was angry. No. It's just like a child throwing tantrums or throwing toys out of the court. So you need to understand where exactly is your anger based. Other people are angry because their child upbringing, it's not right. Now you need to identify, if you are able to identify your anger, where is it coming from, and how best you can be helped. Because if you cannot identify where your anger is coming from, there are a lot of things that causes one anger.
Yes, definitely. There are a lot of things
so
that causes
you need
anger.
to identify where is your anger coming from. Is it coming from your upbringing? Because for argument's sake, your dad was not there. So you're angry about any other man that comes into your life, or any other man that doesn't do what you thought your father should do. You understand? So you need to identify where your anger is coming from.
And talking about the generic anger, you know, anger, you're right, actually. Anger, you don't just get angry in a situation. Anger builds up. So sometimes as you grow, the anger actually grows with you. Then there's the blame of wanting to blame it on a father who wasn't there. I mean, that's not a reason to be angry. You can still be raised by one parent, a mom, and can still be okay in life. So sometimes it's excuses. I'm angry, then I want to blame it on my long-lost dad. No, But then, talking about going back, anger, okay, most of us, we were raised in families where already there was anger. You know, our parents raised them also with anger. So do you see that the anger keeps on going on and going on and
I agree with you.
That's why our generation, most of us, we actually don't want to raise our kids in that anger, because we know this anger is actually going to go on to the next generation.
But then would you agree with me when I say you are angry because of the way your parents raised you?
Yes.
But then your anger, it's parked somewhere. And now you say, I'm not going to raise my children in this way. I'm going to raise my children in this way. You need to deal with the anger that you have with your parent. Given, you know, in especially in the black society, most of the time, you'll find that when your mother beats you up, she will beat you up. Not that you have done something wrong because you didn't wash the dishes. Excuse me, I nearly said a French word. But then
no, here we can't say the French words. We
no.
You know, this is real life. We say
but
them.
Then you didn't wash the dishes. Is that a train smash?
No,
probably not.
Yes,
but to her, it's a big issue
because she's angry.
Yes. Then what she's going to do? She's going to slap you and all those things. But then you ask yourself, why? That's how she was raised. Hence, I'm saying you need to identify your anger. And as parents, we should never feel that you are angry. For instance, the person left you with these children to raise. When the child says to you, I want to see my dad, what do? And I'm talking from experience. You flip. Trust me, you flip. And then you say, why do you want to see your dad? Your dad was not there. I did this, I did that for you, and your dad was not there. You forget one thing. It's his or her father. Whether he's a homo or whatever, it's her father. Now, you're angry now. Now your anger comes in. That's where the anger of your anger comes in.
But then now, Zandi, can I just sorry to interrupt you. Okay. If you, I'm just trying to look at this scenario, right? Where, fine, daddy wasn't home and you raised the kids, okay? 30 years later or 25 years later, then this child tells you, I want to meet my dad. And mom is angry. Mom is not angry because you want to see your dad. Mom is probably angry because she raised you alone. She had to go through all these things financially, emotionally with you, and daddy was not there. Then I have raised and groomed my child to whatever it is that he or she wants to be. and then boom, I want to sue daddy. So the anger is not about what the child is saying to mommy. The anger is about the mommy having raised the child alone without daddy. But then we also sometimes say,
can I come in there?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sorry, unfortunately we touched on a very, very sensitive aspect, and
Okay.
what most of us are dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about you, it's about the child.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, it's
That's what
about
I'm
the
saying.
child.
That's
Now,
what I'm saying.
you talking about your anger, and then you want your anger, you want to make it as if your anger it's more important than when the child doesn't seem or doesn't have access, access, or doesn't have any form of communication with the dad. Because you say now you want to see your dad, I've raised you and whatever. The child doesn't come in there. Now the child is going to do what? If I start talking about my dad's issue, my mom is going to be angry. Okay?
Yeah.
So what does the child do? The child conserve those feelings. Wait until the child gets married. When the child gets married, what that happens? Those conserved emotions, they come up.
Okay.
Now the child starts, like, in a way, also even 2-3 months down the line being married, they resent their husband. So in most cases, anger, it's a lot of issues that needs to be dealt with. You need to see where your anger is coming from, and if it's the anger that can be controlled, or if you need medical attention or psychological help for that matter.
Sandy, we need to take a short break, but then when we get back, we're getting back to the child, daddy, mommy raising anger issues. So let's take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Oh, guys, welcome back. I'm still here with Zandile Pel Lidwaba. Zandi, where were we?
I think we were talking mostly about the anger that especially women have with the issues of raising children alone, and the daddies are not there, and somewhere down the line the daddy reappears, and now there has to be an issue when is the anger. And I indicated that that you have a right to be angry. There's sometimes where you have a right to be angry because of what you went through, but it only becomes a problem when it causes pain to somebody else. You raise a child with all the expenses, the emotions that comes with that, but then the daddy comes in. But here's one thing that you cannot take away from the child. It's his dad. A child is a right to a parent. I'm not even going to say whether it's a mother or the father, but a child is a right to a parent. So yeah.
But then now it's not only women
Yes.
who are angry about raising kids. Men also raise kids alone. There are some women who just go drop off your kids as if you're dropping off a parcel, and then you go thinking you're trying to prove a point to this baby daddy. So it's a both way thing. Women are angry, men are also angry. So I think as society we need to get to a point where we should differentiate our anger.
Hence,
I'm angry with baby daddy, but then now this child who did not ask to be born is here and wants to know daddy, but because daddy is not paying child support, daddy is not there emotionally, daddy is not there, then as a parent, then you choose to actually make a decision for the both of you. But now the child wants to see mommy or daddy who is not in the picture. So I think anger, when it comes to that subject, is actually very broad.
It is because like when two elephants fight,
yes,
the grass suffers.
Yes, and the grass is the child
and
here.
In this case,
yes,
the grass is the child.
It's the child. Mm.
And you angry because he doesn't pay maintenance. Guess what? He's going to come back and say, I'm angry because she doesn't allow me to see my child.
Yes.
So it's a whole lot of issues. Hence I'm saying, when you look at anger, it's an allowed emotional feeling. It's an allowed. it becomes a problem when you react and you hurt the other person. You are allowed to be angry for the fact that your baby daddy is not paying maintenance. But it becomes a problem when you are blocking him to have a relationship with the child.
But do you actually know that issue of baby daddy, baby mama not paying maintenance shouldn't actually really be an issue? Because as a parent, as a mother, it's my duty to raise my child and my responsibility as well. So I shouldn't sit down, relax, and wait for baby daddy to come and bring bread for my child. No, I should. If he wants to, then it's fine. That way, that's when you see some people when they are divorcing. Smart women would actually say, I don't mention maintenance, because that will prolong the whole divorce, because that maintenance issue on its own can go on and on and on and on and on. If a person wants to be part of a child's life, they will be.
Hence I'm saying it's the two elephants that are fighting. You've got your reasons, which they are valid. He's got his reasons and they are valid. Now, both of you cannot see beyond each other's reasons. And then your anger then says, I'm not going to pay maintenance. Your anger as a woman, in most cases, the weapon that we use will be, I'm not going to allow to see his child if he's not going to pay maintenance.
I'm not going to allow him
to see the child.
Yes.
Because he's not maintaining the child. And his anger is going to be, I'm not going to pay maintenance
because
to the
she's
child
not allowing me to
that
see the
I
child.
have no access to.
Yes.
But then, this is what I'm saying. While we are all doing all this damn the child grows up.
Yes.
The child grows up in a situation where mommy is angry, daddy is angry. And now, child is 20
also
21.
angry, by the way. Child also grows up angry.
Yes.
So this child is going to raise angry kids as well, because he or she is angry.
Exactly. As I'm saying, the child is 21, gets married. When that child gets married, there's always like that anger. That anger has been carried along. So hence, I'm saying, anger, it's an allowed feeling, but it only becomes a problem when you react on it. And we going back to the situation, saying 3 times, drink your water, you can drink your glass, and then say, okay, fine. Tomorrow, okay, let me see. Yesterday I said, this is what I'm going to say to Zandi because I'm angry with her. And then today, if you look at what you were going to say to me the first day, it's totally different from what you're going to say the second day and the third day. And most psychologists or psychiatrists, or mental people that deal with mental health, they will always say, do not react to a situation immediately. Even in the Bible, in Proverbs, it says that, to say, if somebody has angered you, take time. Wusa.
Wusa. Are you really saying wusa right now?
I'm saying bring it here, and then you will realize.
But in real life now, talking real, honestly, I know people will talk about, okay, let me count to 3, when somebody has angered me, but it doesn't really happen most of the time, depending on the anger that you're actually inflicting. You understand? Because anger, it depends. There's like anger, you're saying, okay, somebody, you're driving, and then, you hoot, beep, 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 that's anger. You can that guy, whatever, then you can proceed. People can make you angry anyway, but now there's the anger that faces you. You have a situation, okay? And let's forget the maintenance issues. Let's forget all these other angers that seem petty, but they're not really petty. Anger, I know people who've been so angry to an extent where when you think about what they do, you're like, oh my goodness. It's all, you can cut that anger with a knife. You can feel it.
Because it cuts through like a knife.
Yes, and during that midst of them being angry and them inflicting more pain on another person because they are angry because of something. You understand? So I think we also need to teach each other to say, okay, guys, it's okay to be angry, like you said. It's okay to count 1, 2, 3 if you can, depending on the situation of the anger. But now if the anger continuously continues and a person does not actually realize, or they do know, it's like the issue of, I'll fix her.
Okay. But
I will show her.
There are times when people hold on to anger because that is the way they can control situation. Because if they let go of the anger, they are now at a disadvantage position. Sometimes people hold on to anger because if I give away my anger, it's like I'm giving away my ticket. So there is that thing. But then this is the reason why we have to sit down, education, teach people, empower people, and say, you know what?
Zandi, how do you empower? How do you empower a person who actually does not actually realize that her anger is actually having an impact on somebody else's life? They are right. They are always right. How do you sit down with a person, or how do you? It's not possible.
No.
It's not.
That's why I'm saying that kind of a person. It's a person who feels that if I give away
this card,
this ace,
yes,
the anger to him or her, it's her ace or his ace. Now I'm okay if I'm angry, because if you're angry, like, no one is going to come to you and say, can we please, like, if daddy is angry, daddy, can we have money to buy bread? How are you going to go there?
You can't.
Now that's his ace. Okay,
so he has to be angry for people to be scared of him,
yes,
in the house.
Then I'm saying the reason why we're sitting here, me and you, is to say, you know what, there are ways where you can get help. There are ways where you can deal with this situation. Anger, yes, given, you have to be angry sometimes. Okay, I mean, you go into church and then there's a bucket of water there, and then the bucket spills. Now you're about to say, yes, what is it? Like, it brings in an unnatural feeling or an unease feeling on you. Yes, but then we need to say to people, you need to identify your anger when it is now poisonous, when it's now dangerous, when it now affect other people. To say, because others sometimes they do not even know, that my anger it affects other people.
No, they do not, believe me.
Trust me.
No,
I have a situation
they
where
do know.
people.
There's no way you would inflict so much on a person and think they're okay with it.
The level of education sometimes, and the level of understanding, and the way we are raised sometimes, we do not know that. Other children, other boys, I'm going to just quickly say,
yes,
boys sometimes feel that if I hit my woman, he hits you today, and then 20-30 minutes down the line he comes in with a bunch of flowers and a beautiful cake and say, I'm sorry, I will not do it again.
That's now beyond anger. That's being sick. Sick, because yes,
when that happened, it happened in the name of what? Of
the anger.
Exactly. So I'm saying certain angers, we need to go through therapy. There are certain angers that can be controlled. There are certain angers when you not angry, say, Lalawe, the situation that you did, I don't like it. Is there a way where I can help you? Then there are these resources that we can take, and then we can go through this together.
The anger management.
And you shouldn't put that to that person in such a way that they are sick. Because when somebody feels that they're sick, like, I'm not sick. Because according to them, they're fine. According to them, they're fine. They're not sick. So you should be very tactful how you deal with this emotional situation regarding anger.
There's also anger at work. There's also anger at work. People go through a lot of issues at work where anger is just presented to them. And sometimes anger at work, it could come from probably a person who's got a higher position. And you would find then people just have to enjoy that anger because, well, this is where my bread is buttered. I can't confront this person. And it's so sad that you wake up in the morning, you leave your family, your kids behind, you're going to work, and work is the worst place. You would actually say, you know what, I could be anywhere else but not here at work. But you have to be at work because you have to work. So how do we deal with angry bosses at work who inflict that anger on other people?
But you see, rightly so, it is said you spend 80% of your time at work. So which means your 80% of your time is at work.
Yes.
So you cannot spend 80% of your time being angry. So your work situation should be in such a way that you are comfortable and probably happy. But then it also talks to the organization to say, what mechanisms have they put in place? It starts, for instance, with the contract of employment. What does a contract of employment say in terms of you not being happy or whatever? It needs to talk to you and say, if you've got such issues, your lines of communication, how do they go? How do I report such? Because sometimes you can find that your boss, we know those situations. Your boss has been in a position for 20 years. He's only got a matric. You've got your degree and you are his junior. And then when you tell him or her, new ways of doing things, then they resent you. Now, your policy, your HR policy should dictate to you and how you can resolve such things, because it is important that at work situation,
but then
you need to be as comfortable as possible, because 80% of your time
you spend there.
You spend there.
Yeah, but then is there also a way of actually educating people out there to say it's okay for you, to speak up? It's okay. But then most instances you find the person you're supposed to actually be reporting this to is the same boss. Maybe he's the owner of the company, and you definitely know it's not going to end well.
Yes.
If you have to raise that
companies
issue.
Need to
is
be
there
innovative.
A way of, yes,
the companies need to be innovative to say, you know what, when you report, there's a term that says it's corrective measures, not punitive. You're not punishing the other person, your senior manager, but you are correcting the behavior. Now, you can still remain anonymous by reporting this and then say, this is what has happened, and you make recommendations.
But where would you be reporting that to? Because the person you're reporting to is the person
that you report to
playing...
obviously reports somewhere else. Unless then she's or he's the
yes,
main
that's
boss.
what I'm talking about.
Then,
the main boss is the one who is actually showing them that, hey guys, you know what?
The way you approach it. Now there comes the way, approach. How do you approach your boss? Because I would probably, as a boss and somebody who pays you salary, would not take it kind to say, you're doing this wrong. And you say it as raw as it is. Okay, you need to find innovative way or a very nice way of saying, boss, I need to talk to you, and whatever that I'm going to say to you, it's coming from a very good space, and also as a means of growth and to correct a situation. I've realized, and with concern, that this is what we are experiencing and this is what we are doing. Is there a way that we can change it and even give recommendations to say, will it be possible if we may do this way rather than this way? Because in this way it's very offensive and it's diminutive. It demeans us. It's like we do not add value in this company. So can we do it this way? Most people, I would want to change. I would like to see myself growing. I would want to see myself as a better person. And if you come to me with that attitude and with that approach, trust me, I will take it.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back, guys. I'm still seated here with a very good friend of mine, my sister, partner in crime, Zandile. I call her Zandi. Okay, we were so busy talking about anger issues at work, and I think we did actually speak about what people need to do. You suggested that they report it, but also find a way of reporting it. If maybe your boss is the person who then receives that letter, that the complaint letter. Okay, and then moving on, anger is broad, like we said. Anger is very, 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 very broad. Can can we also probably just get into the anger of siblings? Siblings, being born from the same stomach, and you find the other sister is actually probably, we would not say jealousy, but maybe is angry about something, which goes back to the way that they were probably being raised. When one sibling is angry because they feel that the other sibling was loved more than the other one, or than them, then there's this anger that just continues to build up, with siblings.
With that anger, I would probably say, it is said that especially middle children, they would feel that particular anger because they feel kind of neglected, especially middle children, because the first child, it's believed that the first child receives the most love.
Yes.
The second child feels that they have to share the love. That is the third child. The last one, it's also an issue because now the last one receives all the attention and everything else. Jealousy in siblings, it's also there, and it's, in a way, it's very painful because
are you actually saying the jealousy is caused by anger? Is the jealousy in siblings?
The anger is caused sometimes by jealousy.
Okay, the anger is caused by jealousy.
There's also this natural anger amongst the siblings.
Yes.
Naturally, in a sense that, say for instance, I grew up in a home of girls. Obviously, our styles are different.
Yes.
I'm the last one. By the time things comes to me, they have to.
They will have passed through all the other ones.
They have to pass all the other three siblings. By the time they come to me, you understand what I'm saying. And in a way, I probably could, in quotes, be angry because now it seems like I'm getting the ones from the other ones.
You're getting the crumbs.
Yes, the crumbs of the others. Yes. No, but like, when that anger comes in a way, it could be accepted.
So what you're saying is that when siblings, when there's one sibling or two or three siblings angry in that family, it's actually caused by the parents because they are not actually dishing out the same level or the same amount of love to their children.
Not necessarily, but then
because they love them differently.
It's their assurance to say, even if you're not as talented as Judith, but you are also special. Just make them feel very special. So that the other child, so that Zandi can also appreciate Judith's talent.
No, but then,
you understand? I'll make an example.
But then what if the love for the sister is very loud, undeniable, compared to the love the younger one gets, whereby anyone can actually tell or see to say, no, you know what, this child is loved more than this. Can a parent love the kids the same way? Because most cases you find people saying, I was loved less.
No,
my sister was loved more.
How you felt.
That's what was dished to me as a child.
No, sometimes we feel that way because we feel that my parent doesn't love me because I cannot kick the ball. I'll make an example. I'll make an example about Sia Kolisi. Sia Kolisi is the rugby person and he's hip and happening. Now, if you look at that particular sport needs a lot of attention. Now, the parents were going there, they were supporting and everything. Now, Sia tried to say, you know what, I'll put the Kolisi name up there, and for the purposes of anything else, I'm not advertising Sia Kolisi. Now, as Sia Kolisi's siblings, now we are sort of like accompanying. Your mother comes back or your dad comes back tired from the gym, the trainings and everything. By the time when they come to you, they're tired. They cannot give you that attention. Now, it's up to the parent to strike a balance between to say, you know what, while we are doing this because, there is this person's interest. A rugby is totally different from soccer, from tennis, though it also needs the same. And other people, some of these sports, they're not playing it with the intention of playing it. But certain children, they need this kind of a sport. I'm talking like, I had a child who had OCD, and he had a hyperdeficiency disorder, and that disorder had to be managed. It's either I had to give him medication, which are chemicals that I do not know how to use them, or I get him involved in sporting activities. Now, when I get him involved in sporting activities, he could actually do 4 sports in one day. I have to move from this sport to that sport, from this one to this one, from this one to this one. Now, he has a brother, and the brother never had that. The brother never had that. And in a way, I also said to the brother, you need to support your brother in what he is doing. Why? Because he has a condition. So, anger amongst the siblings, it's also very difficult, but it's up to the parents how you manage it, how you handle it, in terms of saying, do not make the other one feel less important than the other, because then it escalates.
Yes, I hear what you're saying, but can we talk about some child somewhere, some deep rural area of wherever? Okay, it's some child who hasn't actually made it in life. We're talking about kids who are still growing up, and the same kids who are still feeling that in this household, our family, my younger brother is loved more than me or than the elder one, without even having had a title yet. It happens in families. You find parents, and I think parents should stop that. Try and love your kids equally. Because they look at characters. There's always that child who's obedient, okay? But then there's that child who's notorious. And they're definitely treated differently. And that causes anger and confusion with the siblings.
You see, with children, it's very tricky. Children are very smart. They also can manipulate the situation. They're very, very smart. So, as a parent, you need to make sure, as I'm saying, that balance. And remember, your 14-year-old and your 16-year-old and your 12-year-old, let's say 12, 14, 16, their friends are not the same. Their interests are not the same.
Yes.
Now, this one, the 12-year-old has a peer pressure from the 12-year-old. The 14-year-old has a peer pressure from the 14-year-olds. Same with the 16-year-old. Now, you need to make sure that within these different age groups, but in this house, this is how we deal with issues. This is how we deal with issues. You strike a balance as a parent. It's very difficult sometimes to be a parent, because you will be seemed as if this is, you favor this one. And then hence I'm saying, sometimes children can manipulate the situation and say, you love Zandi more than you love me.
Yes.
You understand? And not because they've realized that, not that they grew up differently, not that you were taking Zandi to
But then,
McDonald's.
Zandi, do you think the other sibling would actually look at it as saying, and say, you love my sister more than me, if they were loved the same, or if they felt they were loved the same? For them to raise that, it means it's a concern.
But then, if they want to manipulate the situation, trust me, they will do it. If they might want to manipulate, if Zandi says, Mom, I would want to have an iPhone 10, because her peer group have an iPhone 10, and then you say no, but then Judy has got Samsung or iPhone 7. And then you know what she's going to say? She's going to say, you love Judy more than you love me.
Okay.
By what? By manipulating. And it also depends if they are two parents.
Okay.
If there are two parents, okay?
Okay. Judy comes and says, it's my 16th birthday and I need an iPhone. And iPhone she gets. Okay.
But wait.
The other sibling comes now, 16 a year later, and say, it's my birthday and I need an iPhone. And you are told, no, there's no money. We'll see what they won't even buy you the one for 199
Hence I'm saying, parents.
Yes. So parents love their children differently.
No. Parents, you need to take your roles. You need to take your responsibilities when it comes to this one. If the budget for a 16-year-old, if this is what is the budget, you sit down and talk to your child and say to your child, listen, for your 16th birthday, this is what we have. You've got 4,000 rand to work on. Decide what you want to do with the 4,000 rand. You give the child that responsibility.
But can that 4,000 rand be the same when it's now the other one's birthday? It shouldn't go down now to 2,000 because now it's the other one.
I am saying, as parents, if you say for a 16th birthday, we're making a budget of 4,000 rand, it should be standard. It should be the same. Now, you cannot say,
that's what I'm saying.
Because in 2016, 4,000 rand was this, and in 2021, the value is that. No, it's 4,000 rand. Deal with 4,000 rand. This is what we do at our house.
Seems as if I'm I'm drinking alone. Let me honor my guests with some water. Okay, and then another thing as well, Zandi. I still say parents should learn to love their kids equally, to avoid anger amongst the siblings, and then parents, each household, we should learn to sit down with our children.
Provided
we should learn to communicate with our kids. The family meetings should happen in these homes.
Provided the parent is not angry. Because the parent must first deal with
her or his anger.
Yes, his or her own anger. Now, if a parent is angry, for instance, some of us were never given.
Parents are always angry, but Sandy, but then, there's always something that angers the parent.
But then, hence I'm saying, if then as a child you feel you want to, address that issue, you need to be very tactful on how you are going to deal with it. Because some of us were told, I gave birth to you.
Yes.
And if
I can take you out.
I can take you out. I brought you
I brought you here.
And I can take you out of this world. Just say that statement. You cannot tell me what to do. I gave birth to you.
But Sandy, right there. I think the reason why parents get to say those things is because when they were growing up, we never had that thing where you'd sit down with your mom and you say, Mom, I'm not happy with this and this and that. Our generation, there was no such a thing. You cannot go and raise a concern and say, I'm not happy, or I didn't get this on my birthday. No, whatever they bring is what you take. But then the generation now, I'm at 2000, they are those kids who speak out. They will come to you and they'll say, Ma, I'm not happy about that. And what will I feel as a mother? Disrespected. And it's not that.
It's not that, but you see, that's another thing to say. Where do you take your children to get this information? Remember, information is now accessible to your children.
Yeah.
Now, if you want your children to communicate with you, how do they do it? Do you make it conducive for them to come to you and talk to you? And when they question certain things, remember, you don't expect children to tell you. And like there are certain things that they're going to question from you. Are you going to be truthful and tell them the truth? Are you going to be truthful and say, yes, I didn't do this, I did that. I have a personal friend of mine who, for all these years, believed that the father that he was with, it's his father. He only knew that after he got married, that the person he thought is his father. Mind you, he's a man.
But did this person raise him, the one he thought was the father? Very much so. So what's the point?
But then, very much so. But then, the anger started. He wanted to kill himself. He tells you, I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to kill my new bride.
Because the father who raised you is not your biological father?
He confronted, when he asked the mother said, yes, he's not your father.
Okay, Zandi, that's a topic for another day. Thank you so much for being my guest today. Okay, guys, that's it. See you next time. Same place, same time. Ciao.